giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
And Kyle, do you kind of want to tell us a little bit about your history in FIRST and in FTC?
Do you want me to start, Kyle, or?
Yeah, sure. You go first, Alex. Yeah.
So at least for my history in FIRST, I'm an 11-year volunteer with FIRST, mostly with FIRST in Michigan. I've been FTA for both FTC and FRC, as well as the CSA for both. And I've really just done technical roles for the past 11 years with, again, both FRC and FTC. For the Orange Alliance, basically, when I started volunteering with FTC, I saw that there was a gap here for a place to put scores out. There wasn't really that many sites at all that were up that had anything that was showing scores. And we basically wanted to get a model of something that we knew was out there and that worked. The Blue Alliance, who has been helping us out tremendously and has given us some guides on how to get a site like this up and working. So without working with them, the site probably wouldn't be where it is today. But again, like I said, it was more of, we just saw a gap that was not being filled, and we wanted to try and adopt software that we knew to be able to fill this gap for being able to get scores and other stuff out to the community and teams to be able to scout and get information.
Yeah, do you even want to take a further step back and talk a little bit about like your almost pre-Orange Alliance with the live scoring system for Velocity Vortex?
So back in the beginning, where this actually started from was, for a while, I've been talking to FIRST about trying to create a live scoring system. This year, it really turned out to be really good. And to me, I think it's such a value that we have a live scoring system and able to see in real time what the scores are without having to wait until the match is completely over to be able to see what happened in that match. You'll have at least somewhat of a preview. But in the Velocity Vortex game, I was approached by FIRST to help create at least the first iteration of live scoring for FTC. So back in that game, that was the first game where stuff needed to be scored in real time, as in the, I can't remember what the particles going through the vortices need to be counted in real time. So I started writing software and to be able to track that. And that's where we got Soren to really step in and help us out, who's unfortunately not here tonight. He's at work, but he started to help out with this. And that was really before we even started working on the site, how at least the team started to come together.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So I guess you guys kind of gave us the whole spiel about TOA and how it started. So what's your, I guess, favorite part about TOA? Do you have any funny stories? Kyle, do you want to jump in? What's something that you guys really love about TOA?
I think one of the most memorable moments of TOA, and this was the part where initially I screwed up in like our initial showing of the Orange Alliance. This was our first, the website went live on the domain, and we were talking with Blue Alliance about what we were doing. And it just so happens in our public repository, I had accidentally leaked the database information. And so the login information for the database. And so all of a sudden I have all of the devs at the Blue Alliance contacting me saying, hey, so I'm looking at all of your table information right now. And I'm just thinking, oh no, what did I do? So that was quickly patched, and we're fine now. That was my lesson in information assurance.
And Soren did that pretty recently, didn't he?
Yes. It is amazing. It is amazing to me what type of a pickle Soren seems to put himself into every day.
And going off that, Kyle, can you talk a little bit about your kind of starting FIRST, your history?
Yeah, sure. So I started off on FRC 3618, the Petoskey Paladins. I was their programming leader for all 4 years. I've been programming ever since I was in the 7th grade. I love it. I live it. And after I graduated from the team, I just decided I couldn't get enough of robots. And so I immediately started volunteering as an FTAA. and I immediately went to go and mentor FRC 4003, the Trisonics, in which we had a really great record run this past season. And so as 1 year as an FTAA, the following year I was asked to come back as a really, really, really young FRC FTA. And so, of course, I hopped on that train, and I'm about to head into my second year now as a FRC FTA, and as well as my second year as an FTC FTA. So I love volunteering with FIRST. I love the impact it has. I love everything that has to kind of embody the values of FIRST. And so I want to do everything I can to make sure that I can give that to the kids in the program.
That is awesome. So with that, let's see. So I've really loved loved TOA as a resource, especially last year, being able to like jump back and be like, hey, where did we rank at Worlds again? Or whatever. How can everyone out there help TOA kind of become successful? And what can just the average user do to help improve your guys' success?
So probably one of the biggest things that we can do to help get us data is if teams have any data from like league meets, scrimmages, or off-season events, they're more than welcome to send it to us at either contact@theorangealliance.com or to data@theorangealliance.com, and we'll be able to put that data into the TOA databases. If you're seeing data that you think should be up there and that's currently not, feel free to email those same places and tell us that. So then that way we can work with FIRST, who is our partner, to be able to fill in those gaps and get that information up to TOA as quickly as possible. So basically we have a partnership with FIRST where our partnership with FIRST is they will send us all the data that they get sent into them from all the qualifiers, all the state tournaments, pretty much all the events that they run, league meets, tournaments, all that will be sent to us, and then we'll take that data and put it into our database and upload it onto the Orange Alliance, as well as what we also offer is what's called the Data Sync, which is just a software program that you would download, and it runs alongside the current scoring system. And then that way that takes all that data and puts it into the Orange Alliance for us. But really our partnership with FIRST is just a way for us to more easily get data from one centralized place to be able to put that into our system. And that way we also are verifying that this is true, accurate data because it is coming from FIRST itself.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I know one of the things that teams are wondering, and I'm definitely wondering myself, is do you guys know, I don't know if you can speak to this, but will there be any possible integration into the scoring system?
So that I honestly have no idea. We'll be talking with FIRST probably in January about the future of live scoring and how it's gone so far and what the strategic goals will be for the coming months after that, as well as over the summer. For this year, I can pretty much say for sure that that will not happen. But in the future, that's really up to how FIRST wants to handle it. But like I said, we'll be talking with them in January to see what their direction is on that.
So it looks like we have a question for Kyle from the chat. So Lino C asks, what is harder to FTA? FRC, FTC, or FIRST Global? And like, how different is it?
Yeah, so I left out a piece of background information. So this past summer, because of my, the Orange Alliance and our relationship with Rev Robotics, I was offered an internship down over with Rev in Dallas, Texas. And so while I was down there, I created the I basically created the field management system, which is the equivalent of FRC, but I did it for FIRST Global, which was the huge international event. And so Lino Corley, shout out to you. You know, he was one of my great friends I made down while I was there in Mexico City. And so I'd say both had their challenges. I think what was really difficult for me in Global was that I was running the software, which was running a $10 million event. And so if anything happened, it was on my head, right? And but you know, FTAing for FRC, it's kind of like going the long run because I do so many events. I think it's probably pretty equal. Both are very stressful, but both are probably just as rewarding.
And speaking of Lino, he was actually on our first global recap that Ethan and I did back in August. You guys can check that out if you're curious as to what the first global challenge was. Shameless self-plug. So Kyle, can you talk a little bit more about EMS? I know that First in Michigan uses it for state tournaments. Is that correct?
Well, there is plans to use it for our state championship. So the birth of EMS was created because we wanted to try and see if we could create a solution to live scoring and basically say, hey, look, we did this. Like, we don't know if you guys, are trying to look for anything to model off of, but after we wanted to create this for FTC, it kind of developed into, well, now I got hired for Rev Robotics, and Rev Robotics now needs for something for First Global. And so the event management system is one of our public repositories on the Orange Alliance GitHub. And it's kind of meant to be like the one-stop solution for really anything First related. There's actually plans for event management system be used for one of our first collegiate robotics competitions in Michigan. So the second week in January, we're going to have about 10 to 12 colleges in Michigan all do a robot in 3 days competition. And so that will be really great. However, we won't have any First electronics available. So we will be using the event management system to run a FRC event. And currently the event management system is configured for First Global, for FRC, and I'm currently working on the scoring applications and the audience display for FTC. And so this is kind of meant to be just something that's out there, and that if people like it and they have feedback, please let us know. But as far as support goes, it's just kind of out there, I guess.
And now that you've mentioned the GitHub that you guys have, can you guys talk a little bit about how people can help you using that GitHub? I guess via issues, via helping with actual coding.
Oh yeah, for sure. Did you want to talk about this, Alex?
Oh, I was. If you want to go right ahead.
Okay, well, I can say some things. So kind of my role with the Orange Alliance is I'm the lead software engineer. And so all of our initial, I guess you could say, products that you see that we've bundled with ourselves, that I've had a lot of the initial creation with and a lot of input with. But we're always looking for new developers. Unfortunately, this year, I'm really bogged down with a lot of college work and I'm volunteering a lot. And so thankfully, we've had a few developers step up, and they've really been doing some great things with the Orange Alliance. So if you had, one of the big ways you can help us is that if you go over to the Orange Alliance repository, you'll see that we have some outstanding issues. And if you're familiar with Angular 6 or Node.js or really any JavaScript, HTML, CSS, if you think that you can solve any of the issues that are on GitHub, please go ahead and do so. Or if you think that you really want to learn something new and then eventually maybe down the line have a reference, please contact one of us. We'd be definitely willing to work with you so that you can get up to speed and so that you can help us, writing a lot of this code. And we love having a lot of input. For example, I do have to give a really great big thanks to one of our new core developers, Ofek Ashri, I believe it is, who's in Israel. And actually the new Outlook you see on TOA, all of the material design was completely done by him. Really fantastic job from him. And so really, if you help us out in the Orange Alliance, you tackle any of the issues, or if you think that there should be a new feature added, and then you come to us with said feature implemented, there's really plenty of ways for you guys to get involved.
Yeah, and Ofek is my age, right? He's in high school.
Yes, I believe he's 14 or 17.
What's the age difference?
14. Yeah, there's an age.
To high schoolers there are. So are there any exciting sneak peeks or interesting features that are going to be coming out down the pipeline in the near future for TOA?
So one of the big new things that we're working on adding, I don't have an ETA at this time, but we're working on adding media. So such as adding photos, videos, GitHub repositories, CAD design. We're hoping to roll that out pretty soon for teams to be able to put that information in on their team. And then that way teams will be able to collaborate even more by being able to see what the robot looks like, what the CAD designs are, what the code is. and be able to scout better by using that information. Again, like I said, I don't know what the specific date will be, but we're hoping to get it out pretty soon.
Nice. So we just had a question come in from XW00. So I'm looking at your GitHub site, and does this TOA data sync work? So I know you've been working on that.
So Soren has been working on that a lot. So has OPEC. We are pretty much ready for it to be released for this weekend, with one exception. The awards will not be working due to that not being available in the API yet from first, but everything else will work with that. We'll be pushing out the latest release sometime tonight, so that way you'll be able to download it. In order for you to be able to use it, you'll have to get a key from us to be able to use it for your event, but that will be able to upload that data in real time for your event to us. So how you can get that is if you go to the orangealliance.org website, go to add data, and then there's going to be a little thing that says click here to use the live data sync, and then you'll just fill out the form there, which asks about the information of the event, who's running it, stuff like that, and then we'll email out the key to you probably Wednesday or Thursday before your event. Unless it's during the week, then it'll be about 3 days beforehand.
Yeah, and for those of you that might not know what our data sync is, it's kind of a standalone program that's meant to be run on the same computer as a scoring laptop. And while you're running your event and you're keeping scores, this data sync will just live in the background, and it will essentially take all of your scores and upload them to the Orange Alliance, right? And it's a really nice, simple, lightweight solution so that we can get live event results.
So for someone not that technically inclined, what is the setup for that data sync look like? Are you just kind of launching an app and then it happens, or?
So you'll launch the app. You'll just type in the information that we give you. So your event key, your event key, and your event ID will need to be typed in, and then you'll just type in the IP address for the scoring system, and then you'll select the event. And then once you do that, you'll basically just say go, and then you'll just set the setting for just auto uploading, and then it'll just run in the background for the rest of the time. And if anyone needs any event or any help during the events, they're more than welcome to ping us on Discord. We're pretty much on there for the majority of the time throughout the week, so we'll be able to help with troubleshooting anything going on in real time if you have any issues on our Discord.
Yeah, I will vouch that you guys are pretty active there if anyone has any event issues or troubles. So Tacklebat is wondering, do you guys have any interest in scrimmages using the live data sync?
Yes, any event who wants to use the data sync will be able to use it. It doesn't matter what it is. If the event doesn't show up in the Orange Alliance, just make sure that you fill that out in the form, and we'll be more than happy to put that data up onto the Orange Alliance, so that way you have something to sync to on there. And then we'll also send you the link, so that way you can promote it on your site or wherever you want to promote it to say, hey, here's where you get the scores.
As like a mentor and past team member, like just being able to pull out my phone and see how we did in that last match or where we're ranked or whatever sounds incredible. Instead of running to the giant billboard, and if it was a heavy match, then everyone's all crowded around it and no one can see. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I've only ever been to one event where I could actually pull up my phone what the match scores was. That was Super Regionals. So I hope that more events will use the data upload. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So a question that I have is, I know you guys have been doing a lot more Twitch streaming recently. So could you guys possibly talk about using the Orange Alliance Twitch channels as a medium for people to stream?
Yeah. So basically our lead of marketing and media, Nathan, by the way, has been helping us with getting live streams up. So if any event is interested in live streaming their event and doesn't have like a Twitch page or YouTube or wherever to stream to, or even if they just want to stream to us as in addition to whatever other platform they're using, they can submit through that add data section information about their stream or information about their event, and we will be able to set up a stream for them at a stream for them, which will appear on the Orange Alliance. And then that way they can just point teams to say, hey, go to the Orange Alliance or go to this Twitch to be able to watch it. So that way we're live streaming more events and more stuff is being recorded for people to be able to look back at and get information on, as well as watch in real time. I know when I'm not at events, I can't step away from either watching stuff on web streams or going to the Blue Alliance and watching their streams. So I know that would be a great tool for people to be able to see events in real time if they unfortunately aren't able to make it there for whatever reason.
Yeah, it sounds like a really awesome resource and kind of opens up, like if you were just an event, you could start your own Twitch channel, but you get some more publicity and it's probably a lot easier to use to just go to one of your Twitch sites and use there.
Well, I guess I'll also add, because Alex didn't mention it, is if you want to stream on your own event channel, whether that be YouTube, Facebook Live, a Twitch channel, you can still put that in the Orange Alliance. There's a form.
Yeah, we'll take any data, any stream. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to be able to go to one place, see everything that they want, and get all that information.
Yeah. And XO00 has another question. They ask, any plans to calculate OPR or power score info or other match stats since the individual robot autonomous stats are in the database file?
Yeah, so that's actually been one on our to-do list for probably over a year now, and definitely that's one of the things we really want to implement. It's just that requires a little bit more work than maybe some of our other easier to implement features. So it's still on our list to do. We really want to do it ever since we had Cheer for FTC, and then unfortunately he stepped down a little while ago. His big thing was that he really wanted to get us a lot more statistics on the website, which I think both Alex and I can really agree that we want to implement as well.
Yeah,
it's a little bit not necessarily taxing. It just requires a little bit more work than some of these other features.
and that's one of the big reasons why I think we want something in like a centralized area, is that way we're able to get all this data, run queries on, hey, how many gold particles were scored over time, or how many silver particles, or whatever thing that you want to ask the database. You can go through and specifically say that you want to do this, or that you want to see these statistics over time, or just for this specific event. And that's something that's a really powerful tool with having everything in one database, is you'll be able to go through and see specifically what you want to ask it. It's just putting that stuff in there and making it so that way it comes through the API. Will take a while to put that in, but yes, we do ultimately have plans to put those statistics as well as a lot more into the data, into TOA overall, so that way teams can get all that, whether it's specific for the region, specific overall, or specific for the event, or specific for a team.
And I know you guys just dropped the name Cheer for FTC. Who is that, for those that may not know?
So
yeah, you can talk about it.
So William Gardner is the person who created Cheer for FTC. He's one of the people who hosts a lot of data on a GitHub that he has, as well as he's made several apps to help teams with scouting and stuff at the specific event, where it would be able to go off of the web pages that are generated. But he's been helping us out a lot for being able to implement some of these features, as well as making sure data is getting in there correctly, and as well as trying to help us with implementing the OPR and other match statistics that we want to see and put into the Orange Alliance.
It's pretty awesome. Ethan, do you
Yeah,
have any questions?
I just had something I was going to talk about. Our team has worked a lot on getting automated power scores and OPR, and it's been a lot of work. It's a surprising amount of work. But it is a really powerful tool to not have to devote a team member or multiple team members at a competition to just tracking OPR or tracking power score. And they can kind of devote those resources more toward using that as an augmentation of their normal scouting system. And then like using OPR to figure out who you want to real scout. So going over to matches and saying, this is how many particles this team scored. Is a really big tool that we've been trying to implement this year, and that would kind of allow it to reach into the hands of a lot more teams, which I think could help FTC a lot.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I mean, live data, having access to data, it was just amazing. I know that just Supers was the first time I really had access to live data, and that was just amazing to look at. My team was never in a position to pick, but it's just so interesting when you can analyze and go through what our team's really doing and what is the breakdown of matches. And as you can look at sports now and see how much baseball was just statistics driven, especially in the StatCast era and with Billy Bean and Theo Epstein and all those guys for baseball fans out there. So back to robotics, someone had the question, does the app, I believe they mean the live upload app, run on Linux?
So yes, the live uploader will run on Linux as well as Mac. So we're going to be making sure that it's tested on all three of those platforms. So that way anyone at any event has no problem with being able to upload, whether they're using Mac, PC, Linux. So any of those will be supported, and it's going to be Ubuntu Linux that I believe we're testing on.
Awesome. So KW00 asks if he just has a database file from like a league meet or a qualifier, can we just send that in to you guys and have it go up to the site? And how long does that normally take?
So league meets can be sent directly to us to the data at theorangealliance.org. However, qualifiers and state championships and pretty much and league tournaments have to go through first, so that way they're vetted through first process. So any of those events will have to go through first, and then they'll ultimately get to us. So from the time that you submit it to us, whether it be through first, and it's the time that's submitted to first, not the time that we see it. From the time it's submitted, our goal is to get that data up within 48 hours of us receiving.
Nice. So someone else just asked a question. This is from Picat Zerg. They said, what do you host on? I assume they mean the TOA website.
So the TOA website right now is hosted on DreamHost. We have a virtual private server that's set up that's hosting it, as well as a MySQL instance that's hosting the database. However, we are exploring several different options, such as Google, AWS, and then also, I can't remember Microsoft's version, Azure.
Azure,
yeah. So I'm playing around with those three environments to see which one is going to be the most effective for us, as well as financially, which one's going to be the most relevant one for us, and then go from there. But that hosting probably won't change until at least the end of the season. But yeah, currently we're hosted on DreamHost, and we have our own dedicated virtual private server. Actually, we have 3 dedicated to us, 2 for testing and 1 for our main site.
Yeah. So regarding something that I think you, Alex, mentioned earlier, XW00 is wondering, is vetted by first, making sure that advancement didn't get screwed up?
So vetting by first is just to make sure that data hasn't been corrupted and that everything in there is showing correctly. So that's the reason why it's going through that step, as well as first just wants to make sure that the information that's being posted out is accurate and not just not corrupted for whatever reason that it would be corrupted.
So I had a question. I know there are some states that run through kind of fake elimination matches for league meets as trial runs. Would that be something that a team would upload to you guys if they were just uploading with a league meet?
So if a league meet uploads elimination matches, we would have to catch that after it gets posted up to the website. So if you ever see any data issues, just feel free to give us to contact us at those email addresses that I talked about earlier, data@theorangealliance.org and contact@theorangealliance.org, and then we'll be able to go through and fix that. So if you are doing stuff on there, if you are doing stuff like that, the data sync will catch it unless you are stopping it from uploading.
And kind of along with uploads and stuff, someone's wondering, or Stevens 300 is wondering, are there any plans to allow users to manually enter data for what events they are attending?
So that is another thing that we're looking at releasing. It's not going to be on the team end per se, but it's more going to be on the event end, that the person who's hosting the event will be able to submit a list of the teams at that event. And then that way that will reflect on the Orange Alliance. So far, I've been testing it out a little bit with the FIM events, since those are the events that I've been working with, but we're hoping to get that released out soon to pretty much all events, that if a event or tournament host wants to give us that information, we'd be able to put that up before the event starts.
Thank you to all of our co-executive producers, keeping fun loud, live, and independent. Pledge your support at patreon.com/first updates now.